From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blerds. Blerd powers unite. Engage.
All right, we should be good to go now. All right. Sure. This is up. That's okay, cool. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Council of the Blerds, a Geekcast. I am your host, Kendrick Grey, the Dreadlock Blerd, and today I am joined by Enigma's Girl as well as Dark Angel 29.
Hello.
HB will not be joining us because he is just exhausted, and I kind of don't blame him. It's been hot this whole week. I've been crazy, been working out every day outside this whole week, and you would think I probably would have passed out already, but I haven't yet, surprisingly. So, I mean, right now the temperature is pretty. I don't know how hot it is outside, even though it's just out there, but it's pretty all right. We're gonna be piggybacking off of last week's episode where we talked about our favorite scenes in movies, scenes that made us like jump out of our seats with joy and happiness. We're going to be continuing that same conversation. This time we're going to be talking about TV shows. As the title of this video suggests, we're going to be talking about our best and worst moments in TV shows. The worst part might be a little bit hard because, just like movies, there's just certain movies that I watch that I just happen to like. Granted, there are a few movies that we've watched that were like dumpster fires of movies. I guess the same thing could be said for certain TV shows as well. I want to give a quick shout out to everyone who threw suggestions at us over the past week or so. We're going to be looking at those suggestions and we're going to plan out our next couple of shows based around those suggestions. If you have something that you would like for us to talk about, definitely send it to us, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, Discord, wherever you can or wherever you're connected to us. Send your suggestions. We're always looking for different things to talk about that we don't always have to come up with. I do ask that when you do suggest something, please explain what you're talking about if we ask you to explain it, because if we can't understand what it is that you're talking about in the first suggestion, more than likely, this is probably not going to be something that we're going to want to do. All right, just so everyone's clear. And also, please let us know if we are coming in clear, if there are any glitches. If we get frozen at any point during this cast, please let us know so we can try to fix that right away. Last week, we were actually pretty good. We didn't have any issues, actually. We were actually pretty all right. So, yeah, there's that to consider. I think we were finally hitting our stride so far. And above all else, I'm going to just get all of this stuff out of the way right now. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you know exactly when a new podcast, when we're live, is up. Hit that bell next to the subscription button so you know exactly when we're going to be putting up something new. Again, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Discord. Every social media platform that we are on is in the description box, as well as where you can listen to us for the audio. We're on Anchor, iTunes. I don't even think is it even still called iTunes? I don't even know. Mess with Apple like that. Google on Podcast, Stitcher. We're on all these podcast platforms. So if you can't watch us, you can definitely listen to us whenever you get the chance. All that being said and out the way, we're just going to jump right into this conversation. Now, I started last week about my favorite moments in movies. So I'm not going to go first this week. That's going to be between the two of y'all. So if y'all want to rock, paper, scissors for it, I don't know what y'all want to do. Like y'all can go ahead and get started. I will happily go last or whatever. It doesn't matter. I will say that, like I said, I don't really have any worst moments of TV on my list. I couldn't really. As the stream goes on, I'll probably think of something along the way. But as it stands right now, I don't have any. I only have my favorite moments from TV.
Okay. Well, mine's pretty short, so okay. I'll start. I'll start with mine. And they're in no particular order. They're basically just what came to mind when I was thinking about this. So some of the best TV moments for me is what I got here. Sorry. Number one Oh, when in the first Arrowverse crossover, when Supergirl was first introduced. So basically, she, Diggle was like, "What's so super about her?" And then she flies up and then, blasts her insignia into the ground. I don't know. I just thought that was cool.
That was a cool moment. That was Heroes versus Aliens, right? Or Heroes Joint Forces.
Did it have a title? I thought they were. I didn't think they were that far.
Yeah,
they were that far ahead at that time.
So they had it was I think it was Heroes versus Aliens, or Heroes Joint Forces. One of those two. It was one of those two. But yeah, that's before they really got fancy with the titles and like later crossovers and stuff. I like that crossover too. That crossover was actually pretty good. Uh-oh, did she freeze?
I don't know. She might have. Yeah.
So
we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. It's either me. Usually it's me.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on.
Maybe she might need to come in there with you.
That's probably it. Like we just lost connection, so give us a moment where we can try to figure this out. Don't really know what's happening on her end. Ironically, I actually volunteered to do this outside the office, but I mean, I don't know. That's probably what will probably have to happen next time. I think next time we will just switch spots and I do it out there. I mean, I was originally planning to do it out there anyway. So, but yeah, I don't know what's going on here. She.
Yeah, I mean, right now at this point, what we can do is maybe we can bounce, I guess, between each other.
Yeah, we can do that.
Try to figure out what she's doing right now. That way we can just keep the show going. Hopefully she can get connection. Worst case, like I said, she might have to come in there with you to kind of do that. Guess the benefit of being in the same house.
Yeah, very much so. Yes.
So one of my favorite moments is actually from Family Matters. Actually,
oh really?
Let's turn this out. There's two of them actually. When we first get introduced to Steve, who was only supposed to be a walk-on character.
Yeah.
And we first get introduced to Steve, and we enjoy his entrance, everything, which is so nerdy, clumsy, everything, and hilarious.
Yeah.
And then when we first get introduced to Stefan, when he does the transformation for the first time, and Laura's reaction when he does it, it's just yes. That's when we got to see him as his real self. And I remember those two. I don't know why that stood out for me, but like for a good TV moment, for somebody who should have never been on the show to begin with, for him to have good moments in that whole show. Basically, the show was him. It wasn't even them anymore. It was him.
Yeah.
It was all about the circle. So for him to turn around and make it about himself and, continuously make him about himself, I think that was wonderful.
I remember that because, honestly speaking, I don't think I can remember any other episode before the introduction of Steve Urkel. I can't remember any episode of Family Matters before Steve Urkel was introduced.
No.
I do remember it had a different theme song. It was Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World or something like that. I think that's what it was. But yeah, I don't remember anything before the arrival of Steve Urkel. Like, whatever was there is gone from memory at this point. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, he became extremely popular. It was, like, insane how he had cereal. He had his own cereal. He had an Urkel doll.
He had a dance.
He had to dance. Like, it was insane. It really was insane. But, 90s was funny. The 90s were really funny. My number one favorite scene in TV history is the moment when Gohan beats Cell. I mean, I
Yeah,
didn't.
I'm all out on that
Huh?
one. I'm all out on that one.
I
Give me that.
I mean, I really started getting into DBZ once like Toonami like really became mainstream. Like once Tom was introduced, then that's when I was like all in, not only just on DBZ but everything else that Toonami had to offer. The Android Saga is the one saga that I was like heavily invested. I watched that like day in and day out. Like, nothing against the Frieza saga. I just watched that in bits and pieces until I finally got the seasons. But the Android Saga was the one saga that I was really invested in. And the way it ended with Gohan finally beating Cell is like the perfect. That's like the perfect anime moment. I mean, at the time it was to me. I mean, it still is, of course. Otherwise, it would have been my number one. But at the time, watching an 11-year-old boy beat a superpowered android with one hand, mind you, is probably one of the greatest anime scenes I've ever seen in my life. That's why that's my number one. I will always attest that that's my favorite scene in DBZ altogether. Like that includes Super, GT, and the old Dragon Ball. Like that is my favorite scene ever.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Oh, yeah. I wish I knew anything about Dragon Ball Z. I know enough to know who Gohan is, but that's only because my hobby.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why. Otherwise, I wouldn't know who Gohan is, Broly,
Yeah.
none of them. So I mean, I wish I can get into it, but I think it's so far off at this point. Like it's too late for a lot of people to get into it.
Yeah. That's something I can actually agree with.
And so it's like if somebody really wants to get into it, it's something that you have to dedicate yourself like months to.
It's really like one of those things where it's like you have to have caught it at the height of its popularity. Like early
Like
2000s
Pokemon.
was exactly. Like exactly like if you didn't catch it at the height of its popularity, you're gonna come in there, you're gonna be really lost, and you're probably not gonna be into it as other people who have been watching it for a long time. Because Pokemon's been on for like Jesus Christ, how long has Pokemon been on? Pokemon's probably been on since we were in middle school. Is that correct? Yeah.
Well, probably for you, yeah.
Yeah,
Remember, I won't say my age.
like
but yeah.
I'll tell you right now, I was never a big fan of Pokemon, so there's that to consider. But I can see why people were into it.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
So let me go down my list here. Another 90s show. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Mm-hmm.
The scene where Will starts crying for real.
Yeah.
Because his dad left. That was one of the most touching scenes in that entire show because it was legitimately real. Like it was him in pain.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen any more acting like that from him since.
Like, I mean, excluding 7 pounds, which was, 7 pounds is a lot.
Yeah, 7 pounds in itself was a lot of story.
7 pounds is a lot to get through. That is a rough one. If you want a good cry, go watch 7 pounds. Trust me. But no, that scene in Fresh Prince, that was definitely one of the. I think that was his best acted scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like throughout the whole series, and it's like, anybody who watches it just automatically knows where it's coming from. Mm-hmm. So it's I could definitely agree with you on that one. I could see why that's one that's up there. Like even when I watch it from time to time, is like it still gets to me too. Even after all these years, it still gets to me. So it's just like, because you can tell like the hurt that he has inside of him. It's like,
Yeah, that was real. That was hurt. That was real. Nobody was expecting it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was legit. I don't know how much of that was like ad libs at that point, and what was that, how much that was put in there.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was from the heart,
mm-hmm.
and I legitimately, you felt it with every part of that scene.
Yeah.
So that was one of like the best scenes from that show, to me at least. It's probably better ones, but to me at least, that was the best scene from that show, the best memorable moment from that show.
My number 2 is actually from Heroes, the first season of Heroes,
Mm-hmm.
the first season, and it was when Peter runs into Christopher Eccleston's character. He called himself Claude Rains, but his powers was that he can turn himself invisible. So he basically met up with him, and I guess Claude kind of started training him on how to like pull out his powers when he needed them to pull out. And then there's a moment where HRG or Mr. Bennett, he's getting ready to like take him in, and Peter throws him off the roof after stopping the taser gun. He throws Claude off the roof, and he jumps off and he catches him, and he flies out and flies through the air. That's like one of like my hypest scenes. And I have a lot of very hyped scenes from Heroes season 1, like really just season 1 because that's obviously the best season. But that moment right there, there we go, she's back now. Everything good?
I don't know, whatever.
But like that was like one of my favorites, just to see him like jump off the roof, like take off flying, and then like the just the special effects that they had at the time. It was for everyone. They definitely put like a lot of their heart into the first season. I know the second season got hit with the writer's strike, so that's kind of what messed them up. But I mean, there's always a way to like rebound. But like after season 1, of Heroes, like things just kind of went downhill. But that's like my favorite moment from. That's my second favorite TV moment is like Peter flying in from Hero season
1. Mm-hmm. If I can piggyback off of that one, I actually watched the opposite one, the one that competed with it, which was Lost.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Lost was my show. So I never got into Heroes, but I got into Lost. And I have to say, there was one scene in Lost where I forget the name of the episode, but Charlie, who is a singer, and he made like this popular song. He's a lovable character throughout the whole show. You get to love him. I don't know if anybody else did, but he's like one of my favorite characters. And what happens is that they have to go into a Dharma station. So I never got it. And they had to go to a Dharma station because there was a boat that was coming. And it was a character named Desmond. They said it was his girlfriend that sent the boat because the girlfriend's been searching for him. Right. So Charlie basically sacrifices himself to talk to Penny. And come to find out, it is not Penny's boat. And the way he has to write this, he has to write it on his hand. So he writes it on his hand and he writes, not Penny's boat. He puts it up against the window because he's technically going to start drowning in 2.5 seconds.
I remember that scene.
And he puts his hand up on that window. And I remember crying because I'm like, my character's about to die. And it's like, because you stupid people didn't understand that that's not Penny's boat. And I'm like, I remember just like, it hurt so much, but it was so powerful. And I think it was a lot of the turning point for the show, because after that, it got a little bit weird. Right. But I think in that moment, I think that was the best moment in that actual show. It was not Penny's boat. That's it. Minus the initial, episode. Let's not get around. The initial episode was like insane.
Right.
You have Jack waking up in the middle of the bamboo and not knowing what's going on and everything's. It's wild, but yeah, the whole season was crazy. But that stood out to me. That always stands out to me.
Tommy, your turn.
Yeah.
That was such an ordeal. I was like, I lost my train of thought. But here we go. Let's go back to my list. I have no idea at what part I was cut off. So I know I mentioned Supergirl when she was first introduced to the rest of the Arrowverse. Actually, a lot of my things come from the Arrowverse. My second favorite one is from in The Flash, Barry and Iris's wedding. And there were a couple of funny moments, and that actually was a crossover episode too.
Yeah.
That when actually let me backtrack. Let me finish Supergirl. When Superman first arrives, I don't know. I like that landing.
Yeah.
That he gave. And then when Win all fangirl when he walked through and was introducing himself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. Going to the Flash and Barry and Iris's wedding. When the Nazis came in and started shooting, and then Kid Flash just goes all Matrix on them.
Oh yeah.
And then we never saw him in the rest of the episode. I don't know what that was.
I don't know why they didn't. I really don't know why they didn't throw him in the crossover. Like,
so
I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea what that was about. But for the 2 seconds that he was there, it was cool.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that crossover had the best fight sequence too.
That was the best crossover. So.
Huh?
That's the best crossover. Crisis on Earth X is still like I still, at least I feel, is one of the best crossovers they ever had.
Yeah.
Like it's above Crisis on Infinite Earths and the other two. That's the best crossover they had.
Yeah, I agree. And then my best for the next one, my best and worst moments are in the same show for this next one. The best one was when in How I Met Your Mother, Ted, not the moment Ted finally meets the mother, the moment where for me is the moment when we realize who the mother is. Like when you put they spent the season dropping clues and putting pieces, and allowing the audience to put pieces together. So for me, realizing who the mother was finally, then that was a good moment for me. The worst moment for me in that same show, spoiler alert, is when she dies. I almost cursed. I was like, why did we just spend 8 seasons talking about How I Met Your Mother and then she dies? In like the next 2, and like 2 episodes later.
Yeah, you basically summed the entire series up for me, because I've never had any interest in watching that show.
Yeah. Like I'm right there. Like How I Met Your Mother was one of the shows that I wasn't really interested in. So like a lot of what I know from Tani, like because she watched it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even get through an episode, so I'm like, I never understood that. But I mean, now that you just summed it up, it's like, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous to get 8 seasons, but we have to understand, I waited how many seasons of Lost to get the fact that we already knew they were in purgatory.
That must have been fun.
I was so mad.
Oh wow, I told you my list was short. My last one is when I was telling Ken this the other day. It's about Sex in the City. I could not stand Carrie and Big.
No, absolutely not.
I could not stand them.
No.
I said in my 20s, I kind of liked all the girls, but then as I got older and rewatched the reruns again in my 30s, I realized that Carrie's kind of a terrible person.
Yes, she is.
So is Big.
Yeah.
And however, my favorite moment does involve them too for some reason, somehow, when he goes to Paris and pretty much rescues her from another not so great guy that she was with.
Yeah.
I do like that he did that. And it's like the ultimate big gesture for somebody to leave the country, travel to another country to go pick up the woman that they love.
Definitely.
So that was a good moment for me. But other than that, they're terrible people.
They were toxic. They were toxic to each other. They were toxic to other people. It was pretty bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the show, so
I watched it to a certain point.
Didn't watch it.
Yeah, I watched it to a certain point. It's like I can only tolerate so much of it because when I finally got a chance, I finally able to watch it, because when that came out, I'm not gonna say how old I was, but
yeah, when it first came out, I was too young to watch it. By the time it ended, I was old enough to watch it, but I didn't know what it was back then.
You're gonna stick with one day.
My introduction to Sex in the City was actually the movie.
The movie, exactly.
And then I went back and watch the series.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I'm so mad because I have my brother worked in high-end retail and high-end fashion, and I think for a season they got a lot of their wardrobe from Neiman Marcus, and that's where he worked that's who he worked for at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he had an autographed photo from all of them. And he gave it to me, but at the time I didn't watch Sex and the City, so I gave it to my ex-best friend who loved Sex and the City. And now that I like Sex and the City, I wish I had it back. Because she does not deserve it.
Oh, goodness. Oh, my gosh.
But whatever. She can have it, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm never going to see her, talk to her again. So I guess, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How else would I get it? I mean, how would I get it?
Yeah, I guess. I'm trying to think how do you even follow that up? Let me see. I'm trying to think what's on my list here. So I have on my list particular, I have actually Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
Mandalorian. When we finally got introduced to the child.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it was that, oh my God, look at it, it's so cute. And I know, I don't care if you're a man or a woman, whoever, you did that. No, you did it. I don't care. It was cute. And I know half of y'all said Baby Yoda.
Oh crap, I do have one more worst TV moment. I forgot to scroll down.
Go ahead.
The entire end of Angel.
See,
I think after damn, I forgot what Amy Acker's name was in the show.
She was Fred, and then she became Illyria.
There we go. So yes, when Fred becomes whatever you just said, the whole show just got weird after that. It got kind of weird after Cordelia died. Another spoiler alert. Y'all should have been watching it by now. But anyway, it got kind of weird after Cordelia died. But then when she turned into whatever the hell she turned into, then it got really weird. And then it ended just terribly.
The ending to Angel. See, I don't know. Like, I could watch everything else except for that final episode. I could watch everything else with Angel except for that final episode. I mean, I'll agree with you. There were some episodes that were like extremely weird. I think there was one episode where David Boreanaz himself directed, and like, I don't know what was going on with that movie. I don't know what was going on with that episode.
At that point, I'm like, what's happening here?
There was a point where I was like, and because I had a bunch of friends back in high school that used to watch it, so like there was this point where it's like, what is going on with this show? Like is he turning evil? Like what is? Because there's a whole moment where he was like being like mad dickish, excuse me, and like I don't know, like is Angelus coming back? Is he turning bad? Then we find out he's just doing that so he can like mount an assault against the Blackthorn and all this other stuff. I'm like, eh.
And I mean, also, it's not, I mean, this one's not a bad moment. It's kind of just a weird moment that when Dawn was introduced to Buffy, and they're just going to pretend like she was always there.
Yeah, that threw me off.
I know they explained that. And they kind of tied it into the story of why we never seen her before she appeared. But still.
I remember that episode. I'm like, who the heck is this? Like, what? Like, and they're both like, Mom, like, huh? Buffy don't have no sister. What are you talking about? What is this?
You know what? I fell off that series. Like, I used to love Buffy in the beginning. And then for some reason, I just couldn't watch it anymore. I don't know where it stopped. It was just something was like, yeah, no, I'm done.
I think the final...
At some point, I stopped watching it too, but simply because I went to college and then I worked at night. So then I just couldn't watch it. So I didn't pick it back up until later on as well. But I remember when everything started, when I did pick it up, because I used to, on the days if on the evenings that I was free, then, you know, if my mom was watching it and I would see certain things and I'm like, wait, how the hell did this happen? And she's like, gotta go back and watch it. I can't, it's too much to explain. I'm like, whatever. Okay. And eventually I did, but it was years later.
I think I probably stopped like midway through the final season. Like midway through it, I was like, eh. It was on UPN at the time too, so it was just like, eh. So I think that's when I got like really like super invested in the Angel. So it's like I think I've pretty much seen everything I need to see with Buffy at this point. So it was like, 'cause, like then
I
they
actually
did
didn't start watching Angel until later.
like the first season of Angel was all right, but like after a while, it's like say from season 2 on, that's when it really starts to pick up. But I don't know, like when they did the whole thing where they awakened every single Slayer, and I'm like, what is happening? Why is Buffy doing all this? This is a lot going on here. So, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like it got really weird when I stopped watching it from what it sounds like, because it's just like I just couldn't. It was just one of those things like I think I just grew out of very quickly, or it just got really bad and I just couldn't watch it. One of the two.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's anything else on my list that I have. I got some old stuff.
Real quick, just to run through the comments real fast. Daryl has a couple. I mean, he has quite a few actually. He has when Callisto met Xena. No, when we met Callisto in Xena Warrior Princess. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I was like all into like Xena and Hercules. Like
for a while.
I was on it for like a minute. Like same thing. The final season just kind of. I was kind of in and out. I wasn't really like super feeling like Xena. I like kind of like checked out. Like even though
a little bit, but not a lot.
I watched Xena until the end too, but then like even at the end, I like just like checked out because like what they did with her. But like I don't remember the episode when we actually met Callisto, but I remember Callisto like after that. Like every episode with her in it, I remember those, but I don't remember when we actually met her. He has like when we met Faith on Buffy. Faith was interesting. Faith was an interesting character for Buffy. I don't know. Like, I know a lot of people.
I see a trend with all of his favorite moments. By the way.
Yeah.
Whatever. It is what it is.
He also has when Tiffany Amber Thiessen was she's Tiffany Thiessen now. She dropped the Amber part, so let's make that correct. But when she was introduced as Valerie on Beverly Hills 90210, I was like never a super fan of 90210. I watched like maybe like the first couple of episodes, but after a while I was like, yeah, this ain't for me.
Yeah, that was not my TV show at all.
And this ain't for me. He has when.
Saved by the Bell. You're lucky I got Saved by the Bell out of that one because
he also has when Clark Kent learned about his origins in Smallville season 2. I'm a Smallville writer, so I watched from the first season all the way until the last. That's not one of my favorite moments though. He has when Wesley betrayed Angel and when Holtz took on Angel's son. Like I said, the early seasons of Angel were pretty dope. Like towards the end, it just got extremely weird. Like I still think back to the episode.
Didn't his son like impregnate like Mother Nature or some crap?
No, his son impregnated Callisto. Oh my God, Cordelia.
Oh yeah.
That episode was wild. I'm like, what the heck is happening here? This isn't cool. And then we found out that
they had zero problems with like underage boys and old ass women back then.
Yeah, because Cordelia had to have been like, the character must have been in her 30s, and like Connor must have been like still like
16.
Like 16.
I know the age of consent is 16 in a lot of states, but still, it's still weird.
Like, I don't really mind the character. I don't mind the actor who played Connor, but they probably could have gotten somebody else. I think they honestly could have gotten somebody else to play Connor. Like, I don't mind the guy, but Connor should have been played by somebody else. That's just me.
Seventh Heaven did that crap too.
Yeah, they did. But I don't want to talk about that.
16 and he got a college girl pregnant.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember a little show called Everwood, and the same thing happened in that. The teenager was underage, and he got his babysitter pregnant.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Seem to have this.
90s, early 2000s was wild.
Wow. Now when you're looking back on it, you're like,
there was all the pregnancy.
We're just talking about sleeping with underage boys without, like, it's mad normal.
Goodness, alrighty. There was a party going on in the 90s.
Yeah. What else he has on Dean seeing Sam being killed by the character Jake. I was never a big Supernatural fan. I couldn't really get into it.
You know what it is? I can watch Supernatural. The problem is that I started it way too late.
That's probably what it was.
And at that point, I'm like, I had no clue what was going on. It was before, everything was on VOD.
Yeah.
So I couldn't necessarily get into it at that point. I will get Supernatural, don't get me wrong, because I love the idea behind it. I love everything behind it.
Yeah.
Eventually, I will get Supernatural, though.
Like, they're like 14 seasons in right now, right? Or something like that.
I don't know if they're still running anymore. I think they're done.
This is going into our final season. Like, I think this is their final season. Like now, they're getting ready to head into. Let's see. Bearder B said the sequel will be How I Met Your Stepmother. I don't know what he's referring to with that.
How I Met Your Mother. The mother died. How I Met Your Stepmother.
Look, man, I couldn't get into the show. I'm just gonna leave that one alone. That ending sounded like ass to me, but
I think they tried to do a How I Met Your Father, but it had zero to do with How I Met Your Mother. So I think I saw one episode and then I never saw it again. And I'm not saying that as mean I stopped watching it. Like, I literally never saw another episode of it. I guess
they probably showed the pilot and it was like, yeah, nobody's gonna buy this.
Mm-hmm.
Daryl has another one where Heather Locklear has Amanda on Melrose Place. Nope, didn't watch Melrose Place either.
Another one I would never touch.
Didn't watch it. Did not.
But I am noticing your favorite moments have to do with a lot of women's going on there, bro.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
So.
Some influential 90s women over there. They were definitely the women of the season.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, but I have a couple of old ones on my list that I'll just throw out here right now. I have Lucy and Ethel, I Love Lucy, in the Candy Factory, where they're wrapping the candy. And they can't wrap it fast enough, and they're sitting there stuffing them in their mouth, stuffing them in their bra, stuffing them in the and I don't know why I love that, but I think it's one of the best scenes. I think it's one of the most iconic scenes of I Love Lucy.
I was gonna say that's like that's
I think that's where that Family Guy reference comes from.
Oh, with the chocolates going into the everywhere.
Yeah,
there's one where he's on a conveyor belt and he's checking things, but they're going too fast. So he starts, I think it's drugs though. So he starts consuming all the drugs.
I'm sorry.
That scene is like classic Lucy though. Like any time they show Lucy, they always show that scene. Like that's like classic Lucy.
It's like the funniest thing, and it's like something that any of us would do at that point. It's like, if I can't wrap it fast enough, I'm gonna hide it. Like,
yeah,
but I think that was like one of the best scenes ever. And I think it's one of the most iconic, and one of the main ones she's gonna be remembered for.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think Ricky was in that episode at all, which I love. The next three I have are Twilight Zone references.
I'm down for that.
Eye of the Beholder.
Yes.
Is the name of the episode.
Yes.
When
I do not know episodes by name. They have to be described to me.
I'm gonna describe it to you right now. They bring this in, and this woman is in surgery, and she has this stuff wrapped all over her face, and this girl's wrapped all over her face, and the doctors are talking about fixing her face because she was so ugly and everything else, and she's trying to make her beautiful and all sort of stuff. And I love this episode because it is such the biggest plot twist ever. Yeah. Because when they remove that gauze and they look at her and they go, oh, and she's beautiful. The woman's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. And then you look at the doctors and they're all pig faces.
Yep.
I'm like, and we're like,
it's the greatest thing ever. Greatest thing ever.
Wild.
Love that show. Love that show.
Wild. And you're just like, oh my God.
I always thought that was interesting. And the thing that sucks is that, because Twilight Zone is way before our time, way before Harold's time. I say I heard about the episode before I actually watched it. Because so when I finally realized what the episode, I realized like 5 minutes in, I was like, oh, this is the episode.
Yeah, that is a wild, like, they have a lot of wild episodes.
They actually remade that episode in, like, not the most recent iteration.
Well, the other one.
Like, the previous iteration of Twilight Zone, like, came out in the early 2000s. They remade that episode. The guy from Girlfriends, I forget his daggone name, but he played, like, one of the lead doctors. Like...
You mean lawyers?
Hmm?
You mean lawyers?
No, he played one of the lead doctors in the episode of Twilight Zone.
In the Twilight Zone, he's talking about,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it probably was redone. I probably would go to the straight original one where it's all in black and white and everything was all shadows.
Yeah, that's the best version.
That adds to the anticipation because everything is all in shadows. Everything is done in dark and night. She's seeing stuff. You're seeing it through her perspective, through the gauze. And at the end, there's two ugly people that join hands.
They're ugly.
That they're ugly, but they go on into ugly land together. They go into beautiful land together as ugly people. It is like amazing. I'm like, it's like the standards of beauty, everything. It's just like, whoa. I love Twilight. I love Twilight Zone. I do. It's like, I'm like that episode made me rethink the ideal of beauty entirely because it's all in the eye of the beholder, which is what the name of the actual thing is. The second one that came to mind was the episode To Serve Man.
Woo! Woo-wee! Man, that episode right there. Oh my God, I'm gonna let you continue though.
To Serve Man. Aliens come on the scene and they say, we'll take you to our planet. It's better. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. And they find a book that one of the aliens left. And the book says to serve man. And they spend all this episode trying to decipher this. And the doctor that's trying to decipher it, they decipher it all incorrectly. And they just think it's, serving man. Meanwhile, the actual definition of it is how to serve man.
Yeah. Whole cookbook out here, boy. What?
Whole cookbook.
Oh,
he don't find out until he's on the steps to the UFO and he gets stuffed in the steps. He's like, They're like, you gotta go. Yeah. You gotta go. They don't find this out to the last minute that they cooking people. Oh, I'm feeling like,
oh my God, that great episode is great. Oh my God.
Whole cookbook.
I remember that, and I remember seeing that, and it reminded me of this movie I saw on Netflix, but it was on What Happened to Monday.
Oh yes.
And it's like that moment you realize that they're killing kids, and it's like, yeah,
I gotta watch that show now because I never heard of that show, so now I'm gonna have to watch it.
It's a movie actually. It's a movie.
It's a movie?
Yeah, it's a movie. Yeah. So you can you can put it in one sitting. It's really interesting. Like, it probably would have been better off if it was a series, but it works as a movie too.
I think it's good as a movie.
Yeah, it works as a movie also.
Because what else could you do?
Yeah, that's true also.
Yeah.
Now, the third one, I actually have a fourth one, but the third one was Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, the original, with Shatner. And the only reason I'm putting it up there is because it was funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
And I think Jim Carrey did the correct version of him. There's something on the wing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the acting was so bad.
Yeah, it was classic Shatner. Classic Shatner. I'm like, dude. Like, I'll say the movie version, that's the scarier version. The movie version's scary, yeah. Like, but the TV show version, that's just hilarious. Like, the way the Gremlin looked with looked like a bad Bigfoot suit. I'm like, what is going on here? And I'm like, yeah, like y'all doing too much right now. I wonder if that actually scared anybody when they watched it the first time. Like
I highly doubt it.
I don't think so.
The movie version, that's the scary one, because the way that creature looked and John Lithgow's reaction to everything, yeah, that's how you would react if you saw something like that on the plane when you were playing. Like it was that shit was scary.
Yeah. But the fourth one I have actually is called Time Enough at Last, and this is my favorite episode. My absolute favorite episode.
Oh, that one, yeah.
That's my because it's true to heart, because it's something I would do at the end of the world came right now. And like, guy likes to read. He's a banker. Guy likes to read books. He always has his head in the book. So he goes and he locks himself in the safe at work to go read a book. And then what happens is that the end of the world comes.
Yeah.
Big bomb just drops on everything. So the thing finally opens up. He goes outside and he's like, I have enough time to read. There's nobody complaining at me, telling me anything. But he starts gathering all these books together and getting ready to read all these books. And then he drops his glasses and he steps on them.
Oops.
Heartbreaking. Oh God.
I think that is my ultimate favorite episode of Twilight Zone.
I mean,
I think the first time
it's weird because when I saw that episode, and I'm like, I felt his pain because I am blind as I don't know what. I still have never found anyone or met anyone with a prescription as strong as mine.
Have you met my sister?
No. But we can. Ask her what her. If she wears contacts, ask her what her number is.
Okay.
And I guarantee mine's higher.
But yeah, and I felt his pain in a sense, but I'm not like completely. I'm not blind. I'm 20/30. Let's not throw that out there. 20/30. I can read. I can see without it. I just can't see when I'm driving. So if you ever seen without my glasses, I'm did she go? Oh. But yeah, I felt that I totally felt that episode entirely. Like that was true to heart.
I think the first time I saw that episode, and when I saw that ending, I was like, oh, that is the foolish of shits. That is so mean. Why would you do that to him? Why would you do that to him?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay, I guess I'm the host for right now, but she's gone. So yeah. Those are there. And I only have 3 more after this actually. How to Get Away with Murder. I forget the episode it was, but when Annalise walked into her room and started taking off her layers. She took off her wig. She took off her eyelashes. She took off her makeup. She took off her eyebrows. Everything went. And I'm sitting up there and I'm like, the reason why I remember that, I stopped watching the show, don't get me wrong, but I remember that scene very clearly because I remember being that woman. Coming in there, taking off the layers and stuff because I'm conforming to whatever standard that I need to, and I felt her relief when she was pulling that stuff off. As a Black woman, I felt that relief, pulling all that stuff off just to relax, just to relax in my own home. And I can imagine people that I don't wear makeup, but I can imagine people that wear makeup and wear tons of it and taking that off at the end of the day and what that feels like. I can totally see that. And I think that sticks with a lot of people because that is so true, regardless of what your race is. If you go home and you have to peel off layers of your day, and I feel as though that will ring true with a lot of people, and that's why it sticks with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Now, my favorite show.
Oh, here we go.
When we meet the Ninth Doctor for the first time.
Okay. Yep, there we go.
You knew it was coming.
Oh, I knew it was coming.
I had to save it for last. When we meet the Ninth Doctor for the first time, Rose is sitting in the basement. That's Bad Wolf for anybody else who knows. Rose is sitting in the basement, and the mannequins are chasing after her. And she's getting to the point where she's kind of cornered and pinned and about to be hit by one of the mannequins. And all of a sudden, his hand just grabs her. And all he does is turn to her and says, "Run." That's it. That's it. We get introduced to him just like that. Run. So he literally takes her to throw her out of the building, closes the door, then reopens it and says, "Oh, I'm the doctor. Who are you?" Like, come on now. And that was Eccleston. That was Eccleston. You know, for him to come out there and do that, I mean, that scene to me stood out because that was the first doctor in so many years. I'm not going to say how many years, but in so many years we haven't seen a doctor. But to come back and that is your first introduction to the doctor, it sticks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, Doctor and his first companion on top of it. Mm-hmm. But you know, it sticks. And then my last one is my worst one.
Really?
Yes. And that's the episode of Saved by the Bell where Jesse was taking the sleeping pills.
Oh yes.
And how they dealt with the drug conversation. This is how Saved by the Bell. I'm so excited.
Wasn't she taking like speed or some like caffeine pills or some dumb mess like that?
Like caffeine pills.
Like something stupid. Like I'm like, what is going on here? Like this because I watched it when I was younger, so this whole time I'm thinking like, okay, she's taking some real drugs. I'm like, she like strung out. I'm like, no. Caffeine pills, like what?
Caffeine pills.
Like, huh? Like what? This is what we doing now? NBC, like, come on now.
That's so cringy. And no wonder the next movie she went to go do was Showgirls.
Yeah.
But that lets you know how bad her acting was on the show.
Like, I mean, think about it now. She didn't really get too many lines on the series. Is either Lisa or Kelly. It was usually always those two.
And those are my favorite too. It was always Lisa or Kelly. I loved either one.
Mm-hmm.
But she was always a love interest, so everybody loved her.
Yeah.
But I always preferred Kelly and Lisa. I always thought they were prettier girls.
Yeah. Real quick, just to run through the comments real fast. Josh said when Shamar Moore would enter a scene in Birds of Prey. We get it. All right.
Really, Josh? Really, Josh? Really?
You know what? Like, I was kind of in and out with Birds of Prey, the TV series. Like, in the beginning, I was like riding with it, but then after a while, I was like, Daryl says another favorite moment of his is that 70s show where Eric is about to tell his family he and Donna are engaged at Thanksgiving, and Fez points out that he's failing math, and Red finds out. That 70s show is actually really hilarious to me. It still kind of is. Like, I didn't get into it until like way later when it was like in syndication, but like that 70s show is definitely one of my favorite TV shows. He also says when Malcolm in the Middle, when they meet the new neighbors, that episode was funny. I kind of stuck.
I fell off that show.
Like, I kind of fell off for a minute, then I kind of like circled back like towards the end of the final season. But like, again, that's another one I found like after it was put in syndication, I would watch Malcolm in the Middle. Like, I'm like, this show is hilarious. I think my favorite, and I just added this one, my favorite moment for Malcolm in the Middle was the girl that was kind of obsessed with him, and then he didn't know how to handle it. But like, she was kind of a weirdo, but she was like goofy, and like, there was one episode where like she punched him in the throat. She punched Malcolm in the throat, and like that is like the most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my life. She punched him in the throat, and then she kicked him because he was being an ass. Like, It's hilarious. I can't remember the character's name that she was playing, but that like the introduction of her was hilarious. Like she punched him in the throat, and it's the funniest scene I've ever seen in my life. He also has Justice League, the animated series, when Hawkgirl leaves the group and after telling John that she loves him, and he says it back. Yeah. Smoke and Mirror says that 70 show is only funny when I'm high. No, I don't have to be high. I mean, I don't get high anyway, but no, but that 70 show is
funny, even if
it's funny by itself. It's really funny by itself.
I don't do any of that stuff, so it's the 70 show was funny by itself. I'm like, even with the stereotypes, it was hilarious.
It really. Welcome back.
Another favorite moment was Walking Dead season 5, first episode, the War on Terminus.
I can take or leave that one. I was just ready for them to die. Actually, I was ready for those guys at Terminus to die. That's all it was.
I dropped off I think of season 3.
Season 3? Oh wow, you missed
a lot. I gave up on season because I'm like, I got bored with it. Everything was predictable. Everything was kind of like there.
I'll admit, I didn't start watching this latest season until maybe halfway through. Like I was like, whatever. Rick's gone, so why am I watching? There's no point. So why am I even still here?
No more Carl. No more Carl.
Oh, he gone too. He was gone before Rick, which was wild. But I don't know.
It's whatever. I'm like, I couldn't watch the show anymore. I think like a year when oh God, why can't I think of his name right now? The Asian character. Why can't I think of his name right now?
Glenn?
Glenn, yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised when Glenn left, but I remember the one scene I remember was when the guy and Glenn were leaving the school and they climbed out that window.
Yeah.
And Glenn left that dude to die. I remember that scene very clearly. Glenn turned around and said,
"Yep." Oh my God. All right, so I'm on my number 3 actually for my list. The United States of Smash from My Hero Academia. Like I didn't get into My Hero Academia until late. I think I literally binged the whole the first 3 seasons on Hulu. That's how far behind on My Hero Academia I was. But United States of Smash was when All Might finally just decides that if he's gonna give up his powers, I might as well give it up. Stopping I forgot the name of the bad guy's name, but he has the opposite power of All Might, which is one for all, if I'm not mistaken. And All Might just hits him with because all of All Might's attacks are based on different states in America. So he has Detroit Smash or Cincinnati Smash and stuff like that. So when he hit All for One with the United States of Smash, that was the hypest, most emotional scene I've ever seen in an anime up until this point. And then after that, he sapped all his power. So now he's not technically All Might anymore. But that was really, especially here in English, it was cool. So that was one of my favorite moments. My number 4 is when the White Ranger was revealed on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now. Me and my friends spent maybe a whole 2 weeks trying to figure out who it was. And they kept trying to throw us bones too.
I remember it was so bad trying to sit there and figure out who that was.
They really kept trying to throw us pump fakes on who the White Ranger could really be. I remember that I think I don't think, did Trini pass at that time? I don't think Trini had passed at the time.
No, I think Trini was still alive.
She was still alive. So she was talking to this one dude. I'm like, is that dude a White Ranger? And it's they kept dropping hints and then there was this one scene where Tommy, he was just chilling by a pool and then he got teleported away. I'm he got zapped away. And what the hell happened to Tommy? And then when they finally revealed who it was and that it was Tommy, I was like, you have got to be kidding me. You brought the homeboy back. And not only that, you made him the leader of the Power Rangers. Yep. I'm going to say this right on record. I'm going to say this on record. I still feel like Jason is the best Power Ranger leader that they had. Nothing against Tommy, but Jason was the better leader. Tommy's just a better fighter. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
And better looking.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw that out there. I'm just saying.
I remember going to school the next morning and be like, I can't believe Tommy's the White Ranger, and we just had a whole discussion on the bus ride to school. We had the whole discussion about it. Like he came up with the White Ranger suit, the Tiger Zord that runs fast, and it's like, and he had the talking sword. I'm like, yo,
Yes.
this is gangbusters right here. Like they can't top this. They can't top Power Ranger moments like this. So that was like a real hype moment. I think everybody was trying to figure out who it was. Like this is one of those moments that like they did it right with this one. This is like one of those ones where they had like kids on the edge of their seat trying to figure out who the White Ranger was. So that was a good one. My number 5 is the Superman punch from Justice League Unlimited. It's in the very last episode of Justice League Unlimited, and Darkseid and his forces have invaded Earth. So all the heroes and the villains are like teaming up to stop him. So it's Lex Luthor, Batman, and Superman trying to take on Darkseid and his parademons. So he kind of knocked Batman out. So Superman, he's like basically digging into him, and he's telling him like, listen, I don't normally get a chance to like go all out because I'm always afraid that I'm going to break people or I'm going to break something. But a person like you can probably take everything I'm about to hit you with, right? So then he hits him with like the illest punch I've ever seen in anime history. And you're talking to a person who's watched anime. I've seen Dragon Ball Z. I've seen One Piece. I've seen My Hero Academia. I've seen all the powerful hits you can possibly throw at somebody. But the way he hit Darkseid with a right hook to the face was the greatest thing I've ever seen in American animation history. Like, he sent him flying through like 5 buildings, flew right behind him, hit him with a double axe handle to the ground, and he still wasn't done. Darkseid wasn't finished after that. So, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited are actually really 2 great DC animated universe shows. So, like, if you guys haven't been watching, you guys should really check them out. I'm pretty sure you can watch. Well, if you got the DC Universe streaming service app, you can watch it there until like they disappear.
Yeah, and they're gonna disappear soon. When they're gonna move those two? Because I'm split because I'm hearing different things as far as where they're dispersing all that content to.
Like a lot of things that they took, like a lot of things that were taken down from HBO Max are put back, and we just recently got HBO Max because. Like, I got a notification from DC, like, if you sign up for HBO Max now, you get to only pay, like, what, $4 a month? Something like that.
Can I tell you something?
I
can tell you a secret? If you have AT&T, you get it for free.
Why aren't you just fancy, huh? Like come on now.
Well, I'm sorry, freaking Verizon gets Disney Plus for free.
I'm gonna use these 6 months because it's good for 6 months. I'll pay $4.99 for 6 months for HBO Max because I can catch up with some other movies too. So I ain't too mad about that.
That's what I said. I'm like,
I was gonna get HBO Max back anyway. As soon as Euphoria came back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. I'm like, and then they're coming out with that new season, that new show. What is it? Lovecraft.
Country.
Something or Lovecraft Country. I want to watch that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm probably gonna use it more because now I can actually download the app on my on my streaming services on my TV. Yeah. So that way I don't have to worry about trying to watch it on my phone. That's the reason why I never watch HBO Go, because I never had it for my phone only, not for the actual app.
I binged like the first season of Close Enough, which was the animated series created by J.G. Quintel, who did Regular Show. It's funny. And I actually thought it was pretty. It was only like 8 episodes, so I was like, you know what, I could do this. This ain't no big deal. I'm going to get to the comments in a minute because I see Harold just jumped in. What's going on, Harold? You must have had a very restful nap. Restful. Refreshed. Okay. My number 6 moment is Clark's first flight in Smallville. Now, technically, he wasn't Clark around this time. I think this was like the end of season 2, beginning of season 3. Is the season 3 premiere. Clark had basically went into like this void and became Kal-El. He wasn't like Clark anymore. He was Kal-El. So he fully embraces all of his Kryptonian powers. So his mother Martha's trying to get him to come back, and this is where they introduce like these 3 different gems, these 3 different Kryptonian gems and stuff that Clark is supposed to find. So in the first episode, now mind you, Smallville always had like this rule in place that said no tights, no flights. So he was never supposed to wear the suit, and he was never supposed to fly. They broke their flying rule at this point. Technically, they broke it. So, and this is at the time Matrix had just come out. So the way Neo would fly, where he would crunch into the ground, the ground would like vibrate and shake, and he would take off. They pretty much did the same thing with him. So he ducked down and jumped up and flew away and flew in the sky. It's the greatest hype scene ever. Like I told you, I'm a big fan of flying. So of course this was going to be up there. My number 7, and this is actually one of my low-key favorite moments from the Arrowverse, is when Zoom embarrasses the Flash. Like he they engage in a fight, and Zoom just beats him mercilessly. Like he hits him in the back to the point where like he's like semi-paralyzed, and then to add insult to injury, he grabs him by the back of the neck, and he's running them all over town. He stops at like Jitters, I think, the coffee shop, and he's like showing like, this is your hero, Star City. I mean, whatever city he's from, this is your hero. Then he runs to the police station, and then it's like, is this your hero now? Huh? Is this who you're all looking to save y'all day? And he's like running him all over town, like just embarrassing him. I'm like, damn, Zoom is kind of harsh. I don't know what's going on, Zoom. Like, what are you doing? Tani should be back soon, hopefully. I don't know what's going on her end. Like I said, next week we're gonna switch. Next week she's gonna come in here and I'm gonna be out there. My next favorite scene is the introduction, or the full introduction of Deathstroke in Arrow Season 2. Arrow Season 1 was okay, I thought it was cool, but Arrow Season 2 is my favorite one. And this is where we get Manu Bennett as Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke, and this is where Deathstroke finally has a vendetta against Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow. This is the first live-action iteration, really, that we had a Deathstroke. We kind of had him in Smallville, but that was like some other mess. But like the only reason why I really watched Arrow Season 2 is because of Deathstroke. The way like they showed the flashbacks with Deathstroke, him and like Arrow and Deathstroke training with each other, and then of course
the internet hates me today, so this is what's happening.
And then just like everything in Princess Time, where Deathstroke under the influence of Miracle was trying to assemble an army to try to take down the Green Arrow. The whole season was great. So basically everything about Deathstroke in Arrow Season 2 is my favorite thing. That's just my favorite thing. My next scene, and some of you guys are probably gonna like this, is toss a coin to your Witcher.
Oh, bounty of plenty.
That is the greatest song of TV history. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on The Witcher. I enjoyed the Witcher series. I enjoyed it a great deal.
I played the game, so I'm good. I'm like, it's fine. I'm fine with it. I'm perfectly fine with it. And the best part about it is they didn't leave cups and Starbucks cups in the background like they did Game of Thrones, from what I understand. So. But
when Jaskier hit us with the banger, toss a coin to your Witcher, it is the theme song of The Witcher. Like, Jaskier is the greatest character in the series. I don't care what anybody says. So, I haven't downloaded the song yet, but I'm going to. I'm going to be downloading that song very soon because.
In my head for the rest of the night. Thanks.
Thanks
a lot.
Yes, you're going to like the song. It's going to be in your head all night. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy it a great deal. My next favorite scene is Servo versus Kilo Khan and Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. Now, I'm probably one of the only few people that like this show. Like, this is at the time where I was kind of losing interest in Power Rangers. VR Troopers was there, but, I was like, here, it was, I just watched it because it reminded me of Power Rangers, but Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad was definitely one of my favorite series around the time. And it had a short run. It was only on for like either 2 seasons or just 1 long season. That's how long it was on for. But what was supposed to be like the season finale ended up being like rewritten for America somehow. So the hero, Servo, played by Matthew Lawrence, that's the only star power they had for the show. They got him. He played the hero, so it was a final battle between him and the ultimate bad guy, Kilo Khan, voiced by Tim Curry, mind you. And Tim Curry killed it. But they had a final battle in cyberspace, and then apparently, Kilo Khan was destroyed, of course, but apparently Servo was kind of like dead or something like that, so he went back into cyberspace. At least that's how the American version did it. But then, like, the system just rebooted back up and he came back again. But it was one of the best fights in the series. And the series was known for, like, reusing a lot of, like, footage, like, even footage from, like, previous episodes and just, like, you know, placing it back in again. But, yeah, that was great. Just to hear Kilo Khan, like, Tim Curry just, you know, torment and make fun of the hero, like, that you just can't go wrong with that. It's Tim Curry. Like, come on now. You don't get wrong with that. And I just threw in another, one of my best scenes. Actually, it's one of my favorite episodes, and this is from the Twilight Zone. It's the episode where Mr. Bookman, who's a pitchman, and he's, you know, and Death comes to see him, and he's like, all right, look. So, according to the schedule, you're supposed to pass in your sleep at midnight tonight. I'm pretty sure that works well with you. And then the pitchman is like, no, dude, what you talking about? I ain't trying to die. So then, you know, he makes him a deal. If he'll stave off death if he can make the biggest pitch, the pitch for the Angels. Now, unfortunately, one of the neighboring kids in the neighborhood, who was pretty fond of him, ends up getting struck by a car. Now, death is coming for her. So now Mr. Bookman has to figure out a way so the little girl can live. So he just says, all right, I'm going to make you a pitch real fast. And he hooks him in. He really hooks him in to the point where it's like he misses his appointment to take the girl to the afterlife. So then Mr. Bookman is like, I made my biggest pitch, so now it's time for me to go. So right as he was leaving, he grabs his stuff and he's like, you never know who's going to need stuff up there. He's like, up there? And then Death is like, yeah, up there. You made it. And then they walk off. Like, I don't know why, but that's like one of my favorite episodes. Like, I guess because I like the heartwarming aspect of the episode. That's probably why. But
it's the selflessness of it. At the end.
Yeah. That's always been one of like my favorite episodes. I always go back to. Just to jump into comics real quick, because Harold's been going ham. So let's see. Easy. I bought Auto Mix shoes, pants, and tops, and took Shotokan Karate at the PAL in North. I'm going back to sleep because of Power Rangers.
Okay.
Call the 541. You're not drugged up, are you, Harold? Like, what's going on? What is this? My favorite moment when we were introduced to Arkham Asylum in Gotham.
I haven't gotten there yet. I just wrote them too, and I said I finally started the Gotham series, and I'm officially just starting.
Like, I feel like Gotham is a slept-on show. Like, it had like 5 seasons. Like, there really shouldn't be more. Like, I know there's probably a lot they can do, but there really shouldn't have been more.
I struggled through Gotham.
Like, there were some parts in Gotham where I was like,
I made it to the end, but I struggled through it.
Yeah, no, I'm getting there. Like, I think we just got
Splitter.
Oh, Splitter.
But I think I just got to the point where I think we're just starting with, like, you know, Arkham patients as far as that's concerned. You know, people that have been when Gordon gets put in Arkham, that's about where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Some of it's hard to swallow, especially with the young Catwoman.
You don't like young Catwoman? Why not? Everybody likes young Catwoman.
I don't know. It just feels weird. I feel like she's older.
A lot of people didn't like her.
I thought she was fine. I didn't really mind her too much. I thought she was okay.
It's just too much storyline. They try to put too much romance between them at an early stage.
That part I will agree with. I think that was too early to start that mess. Like, I would have been okay if they were just like 2 characters of like the same kind of walks of life, but just on like opposite sides, like doing their own thing. I would have been okay with that. I mean, at the end of the day, the series was supposed to be about James Gordon in the first place, and I think they did that part fairly well too.
Yeah.
So that's the part of the reason why I could roll with it. But you know, it's hit and miss in certain instances. It's definitely hit and miss.
let's see, where are we at? Another favorite TV moment was where we see the Lost Galaxy Rangers and the Space Rangers team up in Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. Really? I mean, really, I stopped watching Power Rangers, I barely hung in there with Turbo. I barely hung in there. But, after Turbo, I kind of, faded out of Power Rangers. I watched, in space for, a minute, but, I didn't watch it, too often. So, I didn't see that crossover. I've seen other Power Ranger crossovers and stuff. When all the Red Rangers teamed up, that was awesome. That was cool. When all the Black Rangers teamed up, that was awesome also. But, I mean, yeah,
before that point happened.
Yeah,
I stopped watching Power
in
Rangers
space
way before that.
I hung in there with Zeo because it was the follow up to the first season, so I was okay with it. But Power Rangers Turbo, it was okay. I mean, this was the first time where we actually got a black leader of the Power Rangers though, where the black guy became the Red Ranger. So that's why I stuck with it. So I was cool with that. But then they went right back to it in Power Rangers in space. So yeah, the story in space was cool, but I just after that point I kind of just lost interest in Power Rangers. Favorite moment when we see Spider-Man and the X-Men crossover and Spider-Man the animated series. I was here and there with Spider-Man. It was a cool series. Don't get me wrong, but if it wasn't Venom, then I didn't really care. If it wasn't Venom, if it wasn't the Sinister Six, if it wasn't a crossover, I didn't really care. I think the final season where they have all these different Spider-Men come up and show up, I thought that was kind of cool, but I was kind of with Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
When they broke into the Never-Ending Story theme for season 3 of Stranger Things, yeah, I'm gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. That part stole the whole season 3 of Stranger Things.
It's so weird. I started watching season 3 of Stranger Things. I fell asleep somewhere in the middle, and I never went back and watched it.
I never finished season 1.
What?
I don't like it.
Oh, what is going on here?
I started falling off in season 2.
Oh,
I said, I don't know if this is a good show for me. So
I didn't like it. I think I only finished season 1 because of a certain person, but I don't think I necessarily would have watched the rest of it on my own.
Yeah, I like season 1. Season 2, I struggled through. Season 3, I didn't finish. So.
I really enjoyed season 2. Season 3, yeah, season 3 had a couple of issues. Season 3 had a couple of issues, but Dustin and his girlfriend singing the Never-Ending Story theme and the season finale, yeah, that kind of takes the cake. So that was a good one, Harold. Daryl says when Goku became a Super Saiyan after Frieza hurt Krillin. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's iconic. We've all seen the scene. I get hyped when I see it, but I wouldn't necessarily call it my favorite scene.
He clarified what he said earlier, Harold.
Okay.
We wore Automix gear on Power Rangers. 5 for 1 was a song from the Power Rangers.
You must be super tired then. Another favorite moment, Daryl says, when the Psycho Rangers met the Power Rangers in space. Again, I fell off. After Turbo, I was done. I was pretty much done. I was I didn't need any more.
So I have a question. Has anybody watched the Japanese version of this at all?
I started watching them. I started watching Super Sentai. Because it's actually really good.
I believe that the whole storyline is completely different from the Japanese.
It's very different. It is extremely different. In fact, one difference that a lot of people don't realize is that in the regular Mighty Morphin Power Rangers storyline based off of Super Sentai, the Red Ranger and the Green Ranger are actually brothers. They're brothers in the original series. American version, it's Tommy. But in the actual Super Sentai, they're actually brothers. The Green Ranger is the older brother who I forgot, I think he got sent away or something like that. So he came back to teach his brother a lesson. That's pretty much what happened. But like, yeah, I started because what is it? One of the streaming services I have. I think it's like it might be Tubi TV, or one of the other free ones that I got. But they got like a lot of the seasons of Super Sentai on there. So like even Amazon Prime, I believe, has Super Sentai up there also. I don't remember if you got to pay for it, but they have it. They definitely have it up there.
I can check right now. One moment. Please hold.
Right.
Services on my phone that I don't use.
There.
Yeah. Super
Let's see. Is there anything else?
Sentai Prime.
Hmm?
It's a subscription. So you have to subscribe to something. But they have them, but I don't know. I've never heard of a subscription service.
What is it called?
Factory TV. The Shout Factory TV.
Yeah, no, I don't got that one.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one before in my life.
Like I'll go back and check, and I'll let you know which one it is that you can like definitely watch them for free. So I really feel like it's Tubi TV, but I gotta double check that.
Tubi has everything. Tubi has everything.
Yeah.
Tubi has all the stuff that you would never watch in a million years. I actually have that app on my phone too. I can check.
I mean, like I said, Tubi TV is where I watched Ace Ventura: Pet Detective Jr.
Yeah, I saw that on there too, and I hard passed that.
Yeah. Don't watch that. Don't watch that.
I actually almost watched it. It came this close, and I was like, "Wait a second, that's not Ace Ventura. What is this?"
Like I saw it up there, and I'm like, okay, I'll just watch it just to see what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, they have Super Sentai on Tubi.
Okay.
Yeah, they have it on Tubi.
There we go. Yeah, so I think they have most iterations up there. I know they have like the Mighty Morphin. I think they have Turbo. I think they have ZL. I think they have some other ones that probably haven't come to America yet because America has it kind of out of order, so to speak.
Yeah. They were cutting and pasting. So a lot of the fight scenes, from what I understand, a lot of the fight scenes came from the Japanese version.
Yeah.
And then they cut them into the American version.
Yeah, that's all they did. The only other difference is like, the guys in the actors in their suits, they filmed those, they got the suits made for them, but because I know a lot of people are wondering how come the Yellow Ranger in America doesn't have a skirt like the Pink Ranger does? Because in the Super Sentai, the Yellow Ranger is a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, fun stuff.
And then they changed it to a girl in 1998.
Yeah.
It becomes a girl. So that's the reason why we see the fight scenes from the girl in the 1998 iteration.
Yeah.
In 1997. I mean, it's like I'm going through all the episodes. I'm looking at all the different characters. I'm going, yeah, I remember some of these.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's kind of like I wish I can go back and watch a lot of this stuff, but it's like I don't have enough time in a day.
Yeah. That's really one of the kicker. Like even for like a lot of the new stuff, like I said, I started watching Warrior Nun. I don't even think I finished the first episode. As far as I know, I haven't finished the first episode. Like Wu Assassins, I still got to finish that.
And that's, you know what it is? Once you start Wu Assassins, like you get past the first two episodes. The first two episodes are the hardest ones. It's like you end up watching everything until the last one. You're like, wait a second, what did I just watch?
Right.
Like, but the last two episodes and the first two episodes are the hardest ones to watch.
I don't know. Like, there's so many things that I have saved on my watch list for like Amazon.
Oh no, Daryl, I do not like American Horror Story Coven. I think that was
Wait, what happened?
horrible.
I don't see that comment. Where'd that go?
American Horror Story Coven.
No. Coven? Nope, couldn't do it.
Coven was
I could not do it.
Horrible.
I'll tell you right now the seasons of American Horror Story I enjoyed. Murder House.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed Asylum. I love
Yeah.
Asylum.
Yeah.
Coven, nope. Freak Show was okay.
I like Freak Show.
Freak Show I thought was cool. I really like Cult. I know a lot of people didn't, but I love American Horror Story Cult. I liked it a lot.
I couldn't get through it. I couldn't. I no matter what, I couldn't get through it.
I thought the concept was interesting, but
I like the one with the hotel with what's
Hotel was actually really good too, and Lady Gaga killed it. She killed it in that
I
season.
didn't realize she was gonna be that good in it.
Yeah, she killed it in that season. Hotel was good. Apocalypse
Was weird.
Yeah, it was weird. Like it started off really good, and then like it just went off the rails. I was like the start of it was like cool. Like I was like, I mean, are they gonna do the whole Antichrist thing? And they did. I'm like,
And I'm not gonna watch 1984. I'm sorry. I'm just at this point. I'm so over American Horror Story. Like I just can't.
I don't know what the next season's supposed to be, but yeah, I started. I think I watched like the first episode of 1984. I'm like, yeah, nope, I'm out. I'm out. I don't need to do this.
Yeah, but Murder House, Asylum, and I watched most of Coven because I love Stevie Nicks.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I love me some Stevie Nicks. But with that being said, I thought that was one of the dumbest things I've ever watched in my entire life.
Yeah.
Freak Show was. I watched the entire Freak Show. I love
Freak Show was really interesting. I liked it a lot.
And I forget the actress's name that played the one with the two heads.
She's in like every season. What's her name?
Oh God, I can't think of her name right now. It's gonna kill me.
Now I gotta look it up. Are you looking it up? Yeah, because like
I'm gonna look it up.
Sarah Paulson.
Yes.
Yeah, Sarah Paulson.
Oh my gosh, she pulled that off so well.
Yeah.
She pulled that off, and I'm like, and that takes a lot to pull that off because that's like a in your face type of role to play.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I enjoyed watching her on Freak Show.
I literally totally forgot there was like a whole season that we literally like just skipped over.
What are you talking about? Hotel Roanoke?
Roanoke, yeah. That no, I was not doing that. I tried like the first episode, like, nope, this is not the season for me.
He that shall not be named had me watching that, and eventually I got to the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. Why are you making me watch this nonsense?
Like I didn't know what it was about. Like I have a vague idea what it was about. I'm like, this is whack.
I know what it's about, but it was
whack.
Stupid. It was
really whack.
Wrong.
And then, but no, those are the only seasons I really like for American Horror Story. I'm surprised we didn't get another American Crime Story yet.
You know, it's a lot. Like I'm officially done with a lot of the horror stuff. With this, not horror stuff, but like the unoriginal horror stuff. You know, Black Mirror I think has run its course. I think American Horror Story has run its course.
Mm-hmm.
There was that other horror thing that they put out, and I don't remember the name of it. I just remember the last episode I saw, they went to like a haunted house, and they came out on another side, and they had a parallel dimension. I just can't think of the name of that show right now. Ugh.
There's some obscure ones I watched. I watched 2 Sentence Horror Stories. I watched that. I thought that was pretty interesting.
That was good.
I didn't finish them. I only watched them and you watched them. But that was
and you know what's funny is that I actually know somebody who was in that one. Who was in 2 Sentence Horror Stories.
Mm-hmm.
I forget the letter he was though. I would have to tell you the sentence he was again. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, I do know somebody who was in that, and he said it was very interesting work on.
There was another one I watched. I can't remember the name, but it was horror. It was on Netflix, but I think it was supposed to be more kid oriented. I totally forgot what it was called. We watched it like for Halloween at school. Like, yeah, like.
You talking about Stories to Tell in the Dark?
No, not that. We still gotta watch that. We haven't watched that yet. We still gotta watch that.
Oh, the name of that TV series that I was talking about was called Channel Zero.
I heard about that. I haven't watched anything on there yet, but I heard about that.
Yeah, that was that series. That was weird. I didn't like it.
What else? Yeah, a lot of horror stuff. I don't know. We still haven't watched Midsummer. We haven't watched that yet. I started watching Mother.
Oh
I got lost.
God,
I got all the way
no,
lost. I got all
no,
the way
no, no.
lost.
Mother's one of those things you're gonna have to watch and not pay attention the first time, and then you're gonna watch it a second time, and then you're still not gonna pay attention because you're gonna miss what you missed. And needless to say, they eat a baby at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I heard
Let's
that
just throw
part.
that out there.
Yeah, I
Let's
heard
just
that.
throw that out there.
I
So
definitely heard that part.
it is one of those like psycho trip movies. I watched it a few times just to understand it, but I had to understand it because eventually I couldn't figure out what I was watching.
Right. Because I
But
know it's
yeah,
supposed to be about Mother Nature and God and Jesus and all this.
yeah, it's about Mother Nature. She's what's her name? Jennifer
Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence, Mother Nature, and the father is supposedly supposed to be God, and the people are representing what we're doing to the earth. What we're doing to Mother Nature.
Okay.
I guess I'll get to it at some point.
I mean, but it's apparently what the director said is that it's basically anybody's interpretation, so it can be interpreted however.
Dude, don't cop out like
Sure.
that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Like, say what it is, man. Don't do that. That's whack. Don't do that mess. Like, I still feel like Hereditary is still one of like the best horror movies in recent years. Really?
No.
What? Nah, like.
Well, you already knew I didn't like Hereditary.
I know you didn't.
Hereditary. The best part of Hereditary is when the girl stuck her head out the car.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah.
But after that, it just got weird. After that point, it was just like, because everybody's moment was like,
I'm mad he just continued home after that.
Yeah.
And he just drove home, and he went home, and he drove home.
He went
like
to bed.
Nothing happened. He walked into the mother's room and was like,
Went to bed. He went to bed. He's like, man, listen. I don't know what to say after this. I'm out.
Like, come on now, bro. Like, but yeah, no, that was a whole nonsense thing. Hereditary was not good.
I kind of felt that though. It's like you're a jerk for that.
Yeah.
Like, I know that you were probably in some sort of shock too, but you allowed your mom to go outside and see her baby.
Headless.
Yeah.
Headless. Oh yeah, spoiler alert if anybody hasn't seen the movie, but pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. And I think she's mentally ill or something to that effect because she has some issue where she has to like that sound.
She was kind of on the spectrum. That's kind of what it was. She was
probably kind of I would say that, yeah, because it was just some weird thing. She had that clicking in her tongue.
It was a tick. It was a tick.
Oh my God. And I'm just like, that was the weirdest part of the movie, I think, is when she kept doing that every so often throughout the movie. But the ending was weird.
Yeah. All those naked people. Yeah. All the naked people, yeah.
Damn, I don't even remember that. I must have fell asleep.
And and his mom running across the wall out of his bedroom.
Dude, straight out. His out of the house. Come on now.
Yeah, like, you know, the moment you see your mother hanging on the wall like she's Spider-Man, it's time to go. It's time to go.
His out was
bad. Interesting. I don't remember any of that.
You must have zoned out.
Like, he committed the worst sin in horror movie history. Instead of running out, he ran up.
Yeah.
And then he ran out.
Yeah, the window. The whole nosedive out the window. And the crazy part that killed me was like he died from that. I'm like, that shouldn't have been able to kill you.
Because he dove. That's his problem.
But he should have been able to survive with like a broken rib, maybe. I don't know, some chest pains.
Not if you dove.
He dove. He
didn't dive head first into the ground.
But he pretty much dove into the ground at that point.
Like he belly flopped into the ground. That's what he did. I don't know.
I'm like,
I still dig it. I still dig the movie. I thought it was cool.
No, I really, the last good horror movie, I'd have to really think about it. And that'll probably be like the Conjuring movie.
I was trying to think of a recent one. Only because my aunt just over the weekend wanted some suggestions for good horror movies, and I was like, I really can't think of it.
Oh, actually, no. My best horror movie didn't even come from, actually was an American movie. It wasn't American. I'd have to actually look it up right now. Hold on.
Well, she finally, like I said, she finally watched Train to Busan.
That was horror though.
So like, it's survival horror, but I don't know. It's still one of the best zombie movies out there. Like, and we don't have a lot, at least not here in America. I mean, we got a lot of zombie shows, but which reminds me, I might have to start watching what's that one on that used to be on the Sci-Fi Channel? It was the other zombie show. Damn,
was it Gen Z?
I don't think it's Gen Z. Damn, what the hell is that called? It's like, and people kept saying that like this show rivals The Walking Dead. And I can't remember what it was. Z Nation, there it is. Z Nation.
I thought it was Z. I knew that one.
Yeah, Z Nation. Like everyone said, that's like more popping than The Walking Dead. So I think I could watch it on Netflix. So I'll start watching that at some point.
I have to find the name of this movie. There was a movie that I watched, and it was a Korean movie, and it's about a real place in South Korea. And I legitimately watched that entire movie in one sitting without moving. It was that wild. And I legitimately want to find the name of this movie because it was that good. But I don't remember which platform I watched it on. That's the problem. I really don't remember the platform I watched it on because it was, I don't know if it was on Asian Crush or not.
Yeah. Nobody else in the comments got anything to add? Come on now, what y'all doing? Y'all sleep now? Y'all pulled a Harold? What's happening here?
It's a little bit too hot for us in New Jersey. You know that's what it is. It's the 94 degrees every single day. It's starting to get to all of us.
Exactly.
It's starting to get to Connie's laptop. I think everybody's a little bit tired today. It's somebody said Coven was good. That was Bearded Beast. Oh, yeah. No. Coven was not good.
Yeah, I don't know. The internet hates me right now. But I needed to get it together. I needed to get itself together in about 20 minutes. So
I mean, I couldn't think of any worse moments from TV that I could think about right now.
Yeah, that was the only bad one I thought about because it was really bad.
Yeah.
My last worst moment was when the final season of Roseanne wound up just being a story in her head.
You know, I've never watched.
Or she revealed that the entire series was a story that she wrote.
Really? But didn't they revive the show?
They did.
I haven't watched that. But I'm talking about the original Roseanne back from the 90s. At the last episode revealed that the entire series was a book that she wrote. So everything that we knew about the Connors was not true.
Yeah.
Really?
That was interesting. Yeah. I was never a big fan of Roseanne anyway, but when I heard that, I was like, that's dumb.
I'm really trying to find the name of this movie for you guys.
Daryl said the Dark Tournament Saga from Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm going to be honest with you. I've never really fully watched Yu Yu Hakusho. And I know it's like one of the best animes out there, but at the time, especially when it was on Toonami, I wasn't interested in it. I know it's a good series. Maybe I'll watch it someday, but yeah, I didn't watch it. There's actually, I mean, you realize as you get older, there's a lot of stuff you don't watch when you're younger. Or there's a lot.
I know there was a ton of things I didn't watch. I was in too much crap back in the day.
I mean, and even now, when we have the free time to watch this stuff, we don't really watch this stuff. We still watch.
Well, now we work.
I mean, I still watch Ridiculousness. I'm still watching that. Reruns of Ridiculousness when I could be watching other stuff. But, like, I don't know.
We don't like change.
Oh, so I found the name of the movie. It's and I'm gonna massacre the name. I swear, Gonjiam, Gonjiam, Gonjiam is the name of the movie,
Interesting.
and it's based upon a real life psychiatric hospital in South Korea, the same name.
Right.
And they do it in the way of YouTuber streamers going in there and investigating live.
Wow.
So they do it in that type of way. It is actually a really good horror movie if you ever get a chance to watch it. It's really like at first it seems a little campy, but as you keep watching it, it gets really good. So yeah, that is a movie I watch. But I watch more. I find myself watching more foreign horrors because they're better.
We watched Blumhouse's Truth or Dare. It had moments. It actually could have been really good, but
Blumhouse movies are not good. Let's just throw that out there. For the most part,
I'll put it like this: like if Blumhouse's Truth or Dare came out in the '90s, it would have killed. It definitely would have killed in the box office. I think it would have killed.
One of those teeny bopper horror movies.
Like they were.
That would have been cool to watch when we were 14.
Yeah, like they were using tropes from like the late '90s, early 2000s. Like, it doesn't really work right now. That's not gonna work. Like the concept of it, I thought was okay, but no, if it came out in the '90s, it would have done a lot better. Like it wasn't gonna survive now. Still gotta watch She watched the one on Netflix. I haven't watched that one yet, so I kind of gotta see what that one's looking like.
Yeah, that one has a Teen Wolf character in it too.
I need to see what that's about. I gotta see what's going on with that.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I've been just watching a lot of it with my I'm actually going to my Asian crush list right now. So.
I still watch episodes of South Park too. Only because I didn't watch South Park like that. So watching them now, they're like new episodes to me.
I don't remember when I fell off on South Park.
Me neither.
Like I was like religiously watching South Park.
I watched.
But that's how it was about Family Guy, and all of a sudden it was like, nah, I can't watch it.
I still watch Family Guy, and I've seen every single episode of Family Guy. But
I feel like Family Guy's not trying now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think he wants to get canceled. Although, you're totally capable of canceling the show yourself. You don't want to do it, Mr. McCarlin. But
it's funny.
Let's go this route instead.
I mean, it's funny because I watched a couple episodes of American Dad recently, and they're still funny.
I could never get into American Dad.
I was into American Dad for like a little bit, but like it's a different humor as opposed to what Family Guy is. The Cleveland Show, I couldn't do.
I think it's the same humor. I legitimately think it's all the same humor. It's just at this point, I think a lot of what goes on with a lot of those shows is all the same humor. It's just put in different characters. Like Roger is the promiscuous crossdresser.
Yeah.
Like I saw an episode of I was watching a rerun of Family Guy the other day, and I seen this episode because I normally watch them live or soon after they come out. But I don't know. This one just hit me different this time. Maybe because of the climate we're in right now. But there's an episode where Chris and Stewie are making out with each other, and I'm like, why is this happening? Yeah, see that face. That's what I did. I'm like, why is this happening right now? So
I don't know.
I don't know what he's trying to do.
Rick and Morty. I've honestly tried to get into Rick and Morty, but it's whatever, really. Rick and Morty is like, I don't know. I can see why I guess people like it, but I can see why people don't like it either. It's like, Yeah, it is
one or the other. Yeah. It's one or the other. It's like I personally I know enough to get references when they come around, but that's about it. I won't get too far into that. But yeah, anybody who's a horror buff, if you like watching horror movies and horror shows and stuff like that, definitely download Asian Crush. There's a lot of nice, horror movies on there. Don't watch the American version. please don't. Do yourself a favor. Don't do it. But I think that's it for today, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's it also. Like, I got nothing else to add to my list. My list is pretty solid. Everybody else is pretty solid. And that's pretty much it. So I think that's it. We're gonna wrap up the show today. Thank everyone who tuned in and, you know, shared a lot. Mainly Daryl. He's the one that shared the most.
He's always our MVP commenter.
I know that he's getting to a lot of people, so I know a lot of people are partying with feel like sitting in front of a hot screen right now. So,
Exactly.
do all this stuff, but
See, Daryl knows he's watching Hellraiser 2 right now.
But we're gonna be we'll be back next week. Hopefully, it's not as hot next week. Like I said, we're gonna switch off. I'll go out there and she'll come in here. 'Cause I don't know what's going on with that router. Hopefully
It's not the router. It's definitely my computer.
So yeah, we'll be back. Hopefully, Harold will be rested and he'll come and join us. Look out for, you know, posts on Facebook and Instagram, so you know exactly what we'll be talking about in the next episode. And again, like I said in the beginning, if you have suggestions on things you want us to talk about, you know, definitely send it our way. But please be very specific in what it is that you're asking us to talk about, so we can make a decision on whether we're going to do a show about it or not. All right? And as always, the council
Has spoken.
We will catch you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
You were watching Council of the Blerds, a Geekcast. The council has spoken.